Hello and welcome to Aquarium Dilemmas. I'm your host, ScienceGal Aquatics. I'm Kerri, and this is my co-host,
Jesse, and welcome.
Yes, thank you for tuning in and listening. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, I think we have a very fun and exciting topic today.
Yeah. I feel like we've talked about it a little bit in the past, but it's fresh on our mind since we're currently working outside on this nice day. So I figured it'd be fun to talk about it again. But that's summer tubbing, just breeding and keeping fish outside. It's fantastic. And I wish I would have started a lot earlier.
Well, and summer tubbing has its own ups and downs and challenges depending on where you live, especially.
Yeah, I think the weather and the climate is definitely the biggest struggle, but it's worth it. If you have the ability to try it, go for it. I highly recommend it.
Well, and we have a small window here in the Midwest. It's not a huge window, but it's a pretty good window.
I feel like it's better than some of our friends.
Yeah, I mean, we got about a 3-month, 4-month period we can do this.
We're probably a good month away right now, but we're prepping.
Yeah, absolutely. And how did we ever really get into it?
I was thinking about this earlier, and I think it started because the community on YouTube, all of our friends were starting to kind of talk about it. And I was like, what is this summer tubbing thing? Like, what is this? And we do have a small koi pond outside that the first couple attempts, we did not have very good luck. So I think it was the combination of curiosity of like breeding fish outside, along with trying to get the koi pond to just overall just work. It's working great now, but it took a little time for it like turned over once, and then all of a sudden everything started turning out great. But I feel like it was something around like that, because the first time I really heard it was in the live chats that we are always in on YouTube with the fish community and the fish fam. And I was like, man, I want to try this. I wonder, but it was one of those things I was like, putting fish outside seems like really hard, but yet I don't know. But then I was like, well, there's fish naturally outside, so it has to work. And I was like, surely. But I think that was kind of what triggered it, was just the communities talking about it. We did have kind of an easy in because we already had a small koi pond that we were fiddling with, and then it just grew from there.
I think what really exploded it, as I remember it, and this could be 100% wrong, we were fiddling with the koi pond and all that. But the thing that actually made sense to us and kind of really jump started the whole let's try the tub thing was the rosy red minnows.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of was our first real fish that we got us going outside, because I think if I remember right, we started with rosy red minnows before the koi, because initially our goal was to use them. And I'm sorry if you don't like it, but we initially got them to plump them up to feed the silver arowana. But then we fell in love with them and we stopped feeding them, and we just kept them.
Their color and everything changed.
They don't even look like the same feeder fish. But inside, we didn't have as good luck keeping them. I tried,
and they weren't breeding as well. And we put them out in the koi pond, and they took off like gangbusters.
Yeah, they just went crazy. And like I said, they don't even look like the same fish. They're huge.
And I think that's what got us really jump started into, okay, well, let's try.
What else can we do?
Yeah, let's try different size tubs. Let's try bigger ones, smaller ones.
Well, and in the beginning, when we moved over from the koi pond to actually keeping, because that is a pond. And in my definition, I think of tubs as above ground and ponds are in ground, and that's just in my head. So we went from the koi pond to more of the tubs, and we got they're smaller. I don't really even know what they are, but we get them from your parents' farm. You know what they are.
They're
but
a mineral tub. They're about 30 gallons.
They work really well for the fish that we do keep outside to breed, but not necessarily keep all year round. Because in the koi pond, those rosy red minnows and a few others that we'll talk about in the larger tubs, we do keep year round. But in the smaller tubs, those are the ones that we usually concentrate on breeding that we do bring inside at the end of the tubbing season. But we started with those, and I think we have like 5.
Yes.
We have a good handful.
Yes, we got like 5 of the 30-gallon mineral tubs, and they work absolutely awesome. The only hiccup that we'll get into that is the dilemma with summer tubbing is air filtration.
Yeah.
What do you, what is acceptable in your mind and what is not?
Well, I think about anything works. These are the perfect, when it comes to summer tubbing, it's like the perfect opportunity for DIY projects. And we can get pretty creative with what we have on hand versus what we need. But those, because they're round and they're pretty deep, but they're still pretty small in the grand scheme of things. So most things kind of turn into a tornado for the fish. And so we've learned over time, and I think one of the biggest challenges for us too, when it comes to where we were going to put them in the yard, was now we found a few other solutions, but where's the nearest plug-in? Because I eventually on those had an air pump with like a little air valve adjuster, and I had a fine air stone. So I had fine bubbles and I turned the air down, and it eventually worked great. But we went through a few different ideas that we'll talk about here in a second. But I think finding the correct flow speed so it didn't turn into a tornado was the biggest challenge, because there's a lot of different options you can use, but it was finding the right speed. Because like I like to breed the rice fish outside. I had really good luck with breeding rice fish outside, but I had to turn that very low because they did not appreciate very high flow rate. Whereas the guppies and some of the mollies we've bred out there, they could handle a little bit more flow, but they still didn't want it. Like, a pretty round, small tub works great for creating fast tornadoes.
Well, it makes a toilet bowl effect.
Yeah, that's a water. What's it? I forget what it's called. My mind went blank, but a tornado on the water.
Oh yeah.
But you're more correct than me. That's a better.
Yeah, it's almost like a tornado, toilet bowl flushing.
Yeah, that's better.
But the flushing never stops.
Yeah, and the one that it worked so well. The filter that it was a hang on the back. It was, I forget what brand it was, but it was the hang on the back that had like the double flow. It was the longer one, the slightly larger one. And we cut it with a Dremel down the center and kind of bent it in a circle and screwed it into place and plugged it in, and it worked so well. But no matter how much media we stuffed in it to try to slow it down and like do all these things, it was still just it was just too fast. And that was the one that just really, it worked so well though. That water was so clean, but it was just, no matter how well or how much we tried to manipulate that flow speed and how well that truly worked, we haven't found the right fit of fish that can handle such high flow. But for those, I do feel like the little air valve, it was a little plastic piece, and the air pump and a really fine air stone worked really well on those particular tubs for what we kept. And like I said, it's mainly live bears, but the rice fish were just, they just bred really well for us outside.
Oh yeah. Well, we could go on and on about filters. We'll have to do a whole just section of like outside
we'll kind
filters.
of just run down the ones, but we'll probably end up talking about it. But there's a few that work surprisingly well that we found for the larger ones.
Yes. So, I mean,
and some that did not work so well.
We'll have to do like our top list of like what we like for outside versus back and forth, because I could go on all day, and it would literally, I could go on all day.
I will have to say we got some used canister filters for when we bought our arowana tank used, and we redid it, and we got some I think there were internal canister filters, and they were old, they were used. I don't know what brand they were, and they weren't all that great when we got them, and we got them back working, but it just was we used them on the larger 300-gallon tub, but that just was not a good fit either. It was like, I don't even know how to describe it. It was like the end of a water hose just shooting, and it just didn't work. No. It was just too, I don't know. I didn't like it.
Yeah, it was too much. I think the main thing with your outside tubs is take in consideration the size of your tub and the type of fish you're putting in it. The main deal will be air, just getting air there, whether you have a plug-in available or doing something solar wise or a fountain, something to agitate the water to create and oxygenate. That is your big dilemma. Any way you can do that, that is your big score, your big fight, however you want to say it. Either way, when you get that agitation and those air bubbles, you're like, yes, or you're like, yes, but it's too much.
Yeah, because our summer, it gets pretty hot. I would say our average around here is like 80, 85 degrees Fahrenheit. But we do occasionally get like in the hundreds. And in the wintertime, we do get negative occasionally too. So we get kind of a well-rounded summer, winter, spring, fall. It's kind of all over. And some of those we do keep outside, and some of them we keep in, we bring in. But I was surprised how well the solar air pumps do. And like I said, the mosquito fish tub is a larger 300-gallon tub. And that one, we've had different points where we don't have anything on it at all. And we've had periods where we've tried different things. And I will say that adding air to anything it just works better, because those hot days does zap that pretty, like you can tell the water's just getting a little hot. And I think being outside year round, they grow accustomed, and those were wild caught fish from your uncle. So they're used to being outside, but any type of stagnant water, I feel like the fish they just do better with some kind of air pump on there. And the solar ones, I was really surprised how well they do. And the little solar fountains, they're not going to add tons of filtration, if any at all, but it just stirs up that water just enough to where if we don't have anything on that mosquito fish tub and we just have two little solar fountains on there, it does work. And then those solar air pumps we have on the White Cloud tank with the air stones on it, and I could see where you could put a sponge filter or something. It's so large, I don't think it's going to affect it too much, but just having that little bit of something, and you don't have to worry about the plug-in. I was surprised how well they work, and I was like, man, I need some more of these.
Yeah.
If that's a spill, if you got anything out of.
Well, like I said, we'll have to break this down in
There's
further
just so
episodes.
Much, yeah. But it's fun to DIY. I think this is a good area if you want to try summer tubbing and you want to try DIYs, and you can combine it and have a really cool summer breeding project outside. And it's really fun to do DIY projects with filtration and air outside on the summer tubs. And it's worth a shot. It's fun. I mean, I might not know a whole lot, but you do.
Well, there's so many parts to summer tubbing. We would have to we'll just do it overall today and do a multiple breakdown on it, because from what kind of tubs you can use, what kind of DIY stuff you can do for filters. I mean, it goes on and on and on.
And then you get into the plants, and we haven't had we're still experimenting with certain plants for the tubs. I feel like we do a lot better with the live plants inside than the tubs outside. But there's a few that we've had good luck with, but we bring them in because of the winter. But you could do some DIY projects and add some still pond plants and some floating plants of different varieties. And it just helps you out that much more, that little bit more.
Oh, yeah. And we know lots of people that grow plants outside, do summer tubs, and do that.
We personally are still
in the beginner stages of doing
and a lot of it, we don't have anywhere we can go locally and buy pond plants besides the hardware store. So we have a lot of like water lilies, but they're not as, they don't do as much as other plants when it comes to filtration, but that's what we have and they do great. But it's still like, I will always get a bag of water lettuce and I will always give it a good shot. And each time I do, I get better and better, but I still have some learning to do. But they do well in all of our fronts, like where they live. So it's bound to happen. We're bound to conquer it.
Oh, yeah.
We'll come back and check in with you and tell you that we successfully grew some water lettuce. But I don't think the koi fish do us any favors either.
No, they do not. No, when it comes to plants and stuff, we've done a little bit of plants in the smaller tubs and bring them in. But for the bigger tubs that the fish usually stay year round, then the lilies are the way to go, just because in the summertime they take over and they provide a lot of shade for the fish and inhabitants in that tank. So
yeah,
it's a kind of a dual purpose deal there.
Yeah.
Besides some filtration and some other things that it does, but mostly it provides shade for the fish. And
right now, my go-to plant for the tubs when it comes to the smaller ones, the rice fish, the guppies, and more of the live bear type that we do breed outside, I still stick to the guppy grass. That's the one that I do like to put in the tubs, just a small handful, and it does well. And throughout the breeding season, it gives just enough hidey spaces. And for the rice fish, it gives somewhere for the females to stick the eggs to. So when they hatch out, I mean, those rice fish fry, I thought guppy fry were small until I got introduced to white cloud and rice fish fry. And I was like, those are tiny little things. But the floating plants really do make good cover for like the rice fish that scatter eggs, or even the guppy fry. They just swim up there and kind of hide out. And you do naturally get I get more algae outside just because of the sunlight on certain things. So that does kind of get mixed in. And I do have to kind of be careful when I don't clean it, but I kind of pick where it's heavy. But sometimes that added little bit of algae too just gives them more room to stick their eggs on, and then, just gives them more cover. I don't let it get out of control, but I don't mind it if it grows up a little bit.
Well, and I think that's part of the whole summer tubbing experience is you're creating more of an exact outdoor environment that fish is accustomed to.
For the most part, I'm sure. I mean, it's never identical, but it's the best I can do.
Well, and it obviously, that's why a lot of our friends do it and everything. It is, if you are wanting to propagate or breed fish,
there's just no comparison.
You cannot beat outside and summer tubbing. You will see a drastic difference between that and indoor on certain fish.
Yeah. The ones that we keep outside, even like just going back to the rosy red minnows, I could barely keep them inside. And then outside, they don't even look like the same fish. They were super scrawny in the beginning, and now they're huge. They do have a particular time that they breed. It's more closer to like the beginning of the summer, kind of late spring versus like right in the middle of summer. But I still see fry from time to time too throughout the summer. But I just feel like I don't know, it's just no comparison. The coloration, the free food, the live food some of that you can't even see. And the green water in the pond doesn't hurt anything either. So I just feel like there's just no comparison because just the food. And then when you do bring them inside, their colors I don't want to put down my fish room fish too. My fish in here are pretty fancy too. I do like them, but you can't compare the amount of fry that I get outside versus what I get inside the fish room.
Well,
I still get quite a bit inside, but like I said, it's just, I think it really comes down to just all the extra food that, some of it I can see, but a lot of it, it's just, I can't see. And it's always available.
yes. Well, let's do the food and then we'll do a quick breakdown of all the stuff that you've bred outside that you like.
It's not a long list. I'm still having fun experimenting, and every summer tubbing season, I feel like there's something new that I want to try outside, but we're getting a good few that I would like to share that we've had good luck with. But like I said, this journey, we're not done. We're far from it. So stay tuned, because maybe every summer we'll do a recap and we'll just tell you everything else that we've tried.
Oh, yeah. We can definitely go down the rabbit hole in the next couple episodes on just breaking some other stuff down extensively of what we've tried and what we found that works, or like, oh, that did not work for us. That was an epic fail, epic dilemma there. Like, I had high hopes, didn't work. Well, but
my pond netting against our lovely dogs, that net that I had such high hope for, got destroyed very quickly by our lovely dogs. So I'm still having fun finding the right pond net.
Well, you were touching on the green water and the food, and I think that kind of lays into another aspect as well. But the green water, the microorganisms, the sunlight, the algae that's produced, and all the microorganisms go with that. I think that is a really big, good fact for just summer tubbing in general, and why you don't have to feed as much.
Yeah.
I
still do from time to time, but I'm more on a schedule. I'm more, I don't know, regimented, I guess might be the right word for the fish room and the inside fish. But the fish outside, I do feed occasionally some fish flakes or some koi food, especially the koi, that's the one, because we have one goldfish and I think we have 4 koi outside that I would say I feed more on a regular basis, but everything else, if I miss, I miss. If I feed them a little bit, I have fun watching them eat, but they're never starving. If we go to a fish convention or Aquashella or something, I don't have to worry about anybody coming over and feeding our pond fish, because they're okay. If I do, I would say that the koi and that goldfish are the ones that if I do feed, it's the ones I feed first, the ones I check on, when it comes to feeding first. But the other ones, I do feed. I just don't, I'm not every day at this time. Sometimes they just, the mosquito fish eat mosquitoes, and there's always an abundance of mosquito larvae out there for them to munch on, and they do.
Well, it's back to the outdoor and the nature aspect of it. You're creating that outdoor environment, and with all those microorganisms, the mosquito larvae, just everything going on inside those tubs, whether it be from a 30-gallon to a 300-gallon, there's a lot going on in there that you can't see. And it is just amazing what Mother Nature provides for those fish to be able to feed on and thrive on. And I believe that is why ultimately they breed better. Everything is just better. They color up better.
Yeah. That natural sunlight, it does something to them.
and
it works.
Even the growth on the fry is much faster. There's a lot of benefits to summer tubbing. And I think that's the real part of this talk here.
Yeah, I feel like you're right. I agree.
Well, after my rant about the food and not having to feed as much, which I believe that's a bonus for out and a check mark for why you should summer tub. You want to run down your short list of fish you've tried?
Yeah, it's mainly the live bears, the guppies, rice fish. Those are the ones that I think I've tried, thinking back over the years, where I've tried the most. I have the best rate. I do breed them inside. I just have more yield of them at once and more successful, like they grow up fully to adulthood when they're outside. But the white clouds, the mosquito fish, the rosy red minnows, those we keep outside year round. And I would say that the mosquito fish and the rosy red minnows are probably tied definitely 1 and 2 for the ones we get the most fry from. But we've had the rosy red minnows longer, so I feel like they kind of moved to first place. But the white clouds, we do keep them inside as well as outside, and I feel like we do breed them pretty equally well. It's just we get so much more when they're breeding outside, and they're in a pretty large tub, so they have plenty of room. So, but we keep the short finned outside and the long finned inside, and I think that's besides the koi and the goldfish, we haven't bred them, but we keep them outside. But I think that's about it. Like I said, it's not a long list, and each year we try something new, but I do tend to stick to a lot of live bears, but I will probably get back into the rice fish because I just love them so much.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And they are tiny but beautiful.
Yeah, I was just so surprised. I don't know. I don't even know what I had in my head going into them. I knew I would probably like them like all fish, but I was just so pleasantly surprised they were just, I was like, man, these are just, they do so well.
I know the one other one that you have done outside.
What?
You did CPDs.
No, we never kept them outside. We kept them in that tank over there.
I thought we did a round of those outside once.
No.
Maybe I confused them with the rice fish.
Probably so. No, I wish we were trying to breed them with spawning mops inside, but I feel like we had a small group, but I feel like we needed more because we kept them for quite a while, but I never had any successful luck breeding them. But I did tried the spawning mop method with them. But yeah, I like them. Might try it eventually. Who knows? But no, not currently on the list.
I thought it was.
No.
I thought, however, it was.
I can't agree on you on that one.
No. Well, I was wrong. Well, going on to your dogs tearing up your net.
Yes.
The only downside to summer tubbing and for us, because we do breed live bears and smaller fish outside.
Yeah.
And we have a battle with our other outside animals of keeping netting over the top of some of our tubs.
Yes.
Pests.
Yes. So I will have to say, I think we've been summer tubbing now for like 5 years or so. And there's been some seasons I've been really adamant about trying to keep them covered and netted. And then there's other seasons where I just gave up and I was like, you know what? We're just going to see what happens. And I feel like the only thing that really was detrimental to my fry at any one stage, and it had to be in the smaller tubs, was the tadpoles. I feel like they got some fry here and there, but there's a lot of things. They're outside. You're constantly going to have spiders or flying insects or just little creepy, crawly little bugs that just get in your water. And there's always something that you kind of have to scoop out and get rid of. And dragonfly larvae, like wasp, but there's always something that's going to get in there. So I do feel like a small fine net of some sort to kind of keep them out is a wise idea. If you have destructive dogs like our Shiba Inus that we keep that just really enjoy tearing it up, it's a little bit of a challenge to keep it like in place. But I feel like, and birds, I'm surprised like how many birds, I hate to say it, but get in the pond, I guess, trying to go after the fish for a meal, and they drown. It's not often, but it's often enough that I'm like, really? So I feel like that kind of stuff with the netting, you wouldn't have the issue, because if something like you didn't get it out, that could mess up your water very easily. And like we've had raccoons go after the koi. So there are some challenges to keeping them and keeping certain pests out. You're never going to, I don't feel like you're ever going to keep it completely pest free of like certain water bugs, but some of them, like mosquito larvae, I hate mosquito, but the mosquito larva is kind of beneficial to the fish to eat. So there's some things that get in there that can be beneficial, but there's some things that can get in there that I haven't lost tons of them, but I'm sure I have lost plenty of fry due to like, because last year, yeah, last year was, we've always had frogs and tadpoles and things, and normally I don't mind it, but last year it just seemed like there was an abundance of tadpoles in all of the tubs, and it was just like, oh my goodness, like you can't even see the guppy through all the tadpoles. So I think even with the good of having tadpoles, like you can use them for food, like we've had done in the past for other fish that we've had. But at the same time, I mean, there's a point where like that's too many. So if I had some kind of net last year over that to keep the frogs from going in there, I think it would have been better. But like I said, it's hard to keep everything out. But frogs, dragonflies, bees, wasps, birds, raccoons. I mean, we have some birds out there that are just like huge, and then others are just like little black birds that are, I guess that's what they are, that I find in there from time to time. But it's hard to keep it completely pest free from things, but I think there are things like nets out there that are available that you can use that will help keep them out.
I think the two biggest pests that we encounter, in my opinion, are the frogs and dragonfly larvae, just because they can actually consume consume your very tiny fry. So
yeah, and I mean, our fish room's in the basement, and I don't know, I just called it a little water bug. It looked like a cross between a spider and a stink bug. I don't know what it's called, but that's what it looked like to me. And it had gotten inside one of the tanks down here. It didn't quite look like a dragonfly larva, but it did have kind of a similar, so who knows. But it got down here in the fish room in this 20 long. If you're watching this, you can see right here. And I was like, what is going on? I'm just not getting very many fry. Like I'm getting fry, but I'm not. And I was doing maintenance on that tank, and I saw that thing, and it took me a little time to get it out. But now, like, I do have a noticeable amount of fry that I think I've gotten, or I've gotten more fry. It's a noticeable amount since I've taken that what creature out. And like I said, it was obviously, I've seen them outside in the tubs, so I know they're doing damage. I don't feel like every season, like there are, like last year with the tadpoles, I feel like we lost a little bit more than other seasons, but just generally overall, even though there's things like that that can get in there that can get your fry, even with that or the tadpoles, we still get more fry outside than we do inside, if that made any sense.
Yes, it did.
I was trying to think of my point as I was trying to talk. I was like, I just feel like it's so fun. There's so many things you can try and do, and it does depend on your weather, where you live in the country, that it really does affect your summer tubbing season. We're lucky we've got a good amount of time to get things prepped and ready to go for a good 3 months or so. And we don't usually put anything outside till it's at least 60. I feel like 60 degrees kind of average nightly temperatures is when I'm like, okay, I'm getting ready to move things out. Like, not lower 60s, but just a good, like, I don't know, 64 on average. It's not freezing anymore. It's out of the 40s and 50s, but it's not quite fully summer yet. So
Yeah, I
that's kind
think
of the window where we start moving the things because the guppies, they do well, but that first frost, I will lose whatever I don't have in. So I don't want to move them out when it's like right now it's nice. It's not freezing. It's not frosty at night, but it's still just a tad too cold. So here probably another like month, I'll start moving things outside.
I think that 60-degree low in the evening is the threshold for most of the things that right now that we have attempted and worked on and bred outside.
The rice fish, the rice fish will do better. I think the rice fish, if we had a large enough tub, I could keep them outside year round because I mean, they're kind of like the white clouds. They would do better in a colder tank, whereas the guppies, I would like more of a warmer water, but it's just I don't have a tub right now large enough to keep them outside year round. But the rice fish, you probably could keep, well, I'm not going to say you probably could. You can keep that's the exception on our list because the rice fish do like a little chillier, but the guppies, for what you're saying, yes, they do have a threshold.
Yeah, any fish. I mean, you have to be careful when choosing where you're located, your temperatures, choosing what you're going to take outside, and knowing what kind of window time frame you're gonna have there.
Yeah. And kind of pay attention to where like we don't think about where the sun is at noon putting a fish tank in the fish room, but putting the tubs outside, we do kind of think, okay, I don't want them all the time in direct sun, but I don't want them super shaded all the time too. Like I want a little bit of sunlight to hit it. So just kind of where your yard, where you want to put it, just kind of pay attention to, I guess, the sun path, kind of if you want it a little shaded, a little bit more direct sun, kind of, where you want to put it in that aspect too.
Yeah. And again, we can go into a much deeper breakdown on all of this stuff.
Summer tubbing's fun.
Yeah. This will probably be a multi-part series for us because we enjoy it so much. And it goes with so many other things that we will talk about.
I wish I would have tried it sooner because it was one of those things, like so many topics we talk about, seems like every episode. Once I figured it out, I was amazed. But the thought of braiding fish outside, I'm trying to think, like, it just seemed so, I don't know, outside the box, so difficult, so unobtainable. I don't know. It didn't seem like I could do it. But once I'm like, well, fish are outside in the river and they do just fine. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go for it. And we've tried, tubs with substrate, tubs with I guess we've tried gravel, sand, pond rock. We've added driftwood. We've, kind of the smaller tubs right now don't have, I think they just have a little bit of leaf litter in it, and that's about it. So there's just so many different combinations. Like I said, the DIY projects are endless, and it's just, even if it fails per se, it's like, okay, I got to redo it. Blah, this sucks. But then you have fun trying it again. So there's just, like you said, so many different combinations of fish that you can breed, so many different projects, so many different just containers like that you can breed. I mean, I don't recommend using a 5-gallon bucket for a summer tub, but there's some fish and some occasions with the right kind of DIY stuff to it that you can totally breed fish outside like that. So it's so worth it if you have the weather and the area and the capability to do it and you're kind of on the fence. Just go for it. Try it. Do it. It's fun.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. And going back with the pests and things, kind of the last thing to hit on is with your pests, there are certain things you can do to combat if you don't want mosquitoes in your tub.
Yeah, I haven't tried a whole, I don't think we've tried any, but there are some, I don't know, would they be insecticides or pesticides? I don't know if it would even be anything, but I know that there are some powders or something that you can
Yeah, and they
add.
also make like a little ring that you can put in there that is fish safe.
Yeah.
They do make some stuff like that. But
We'll try it. We'll see.
But the main thing is just be very careful around your tubs, depending on your location in your yard or what you're doing with your pesticides, your weed killers, your bug sprays, things like that. Because if they do get into the water,
it is not good.
It can cause some very adverse effects. We do pay attention to that. I'm overcautious with that on I don't spray around my tubs. I keep my tubs up on gravel.
Even just paying attention on a windy day, because the stuff that we use, it works well on the yard, but even just a slight breeze can carry it over, and that can affect your tubs, and you can lose fish that way. So if you do use
you could even lose aquatic plants. I mean, if you're
that stuff you use is pretty potent.
Yeah,
it works, but we have to be extremely careful around the tubs. You are correct, because like I said, it does a good job on the yard. But
because they make so many things out on the market now for gardening and outside use for all different types of pests and pesticides and insecticides.
Well, even
it's just something to be to make a note and be very aware.
If it's going to be a rainy, like sometimes on a rainy day after we do that type of stuff, we do have to be careful because it can run. Like you might miss it when you're spraying it, but then it rains and it just runs right in there. So we do have to just be aware of that, because you don't want to go through all that work just to harm your pond or your tub from something you were trying to just, spray to take care of your yard. Then all of a sudden you're like, oh no.
Well, yeah. And I mean, you alluded to it, leaching and overspray is a very possible thing. So you really need to read the directions on what you're using and kind of understand what could happen.
Yeah.
And just be cautious mainly.
Yeah.
Is my point. Being overcautious I am when it comes to chemicals and that.
Well, I'd rather be safe than sorry.
Yes, 100%. Then I feel bad, you feel bad. It goes on from there, and then I got to get you another tub.
Yeah. Well, you can always get me a new tub, but we'll make it for better reasons. But summer tubbing's just fun, and we highly recommend it. But if you have made it this far in this podcast, I would like to let you know that recently we have started releasing the old episodes of this podcast on YouTube. So if you'd like to check out some of our original episodes and watch them, you're always invited to go over to ScienceGal Aquatics over on YouTube and check them out. But also for the members, if you want to join our memberships, that's where our newer episodes are. So the newer episodes are still for the members to enjoy, but if you do want to check out the episodes video style, we are slowly releasing them on the channel on YouTube. So check out ScienceGal Aquatics too on YouTube.
Well, and you can always check out some of our older summer tubbing videos and things that we have done.
Keep it special for the members. It's 99 cents to join, but I still wanted to release them on YouTube so everybody can enjoy them too. But mainly, if you made it this far, thank you. I hope you enjoy summer tubbing season, and I'm excited for the season, what we breed, and we'll check back in with you. And it's always a great topic to revisit.
Yes, we'll check back in for another part 2. We'll do a deeper dive into some of the special stuff that we like as far as size of tubs and different things.
But thank you. Until next time, thank you again.
Thank you.
Bye.